Oh, God is good. God is great. God is great.
One fear is public humiliation, okay? I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm not afraid of it because I've had these little heathens with no soul downstairs with horns on their head with a battering ram trying to like beat your walls in. Huge illuminated 666 in red. Yeah. And I went from that to that to that, and he started smiling. And I thought, oh no, Chris Walken is the Antichrist.
Girl, if you watch the Oscars this year, I need you to go find some holy water, light a candle, and sit down. Because what I'm about to tell you will change the way you see Hollywood forever. We finally know why Denzel Washington and his wife Pauletta fled Diddy's Oscar afterparty in 2003. And trust me, the details are so much darker than anyone was prepared for. And yes, there are talks about actors only getting these awards after they do some sort of initiation. Apparently, the things that happen at the after-parties go way beyond them just drinking wine and making small talk. We're talking about full-blown occult rituals, where they allegedly feed on you-know-what. And no, these parties are not the ones you see getting photographed. These are the after parties that are allegedly held in secret locations with only a few allowed people. And this is exactly what Mel Gibson and Denzel Washington have been trying to tell us. But the industry silenced them. Mel hasn't been to the Oscars in years, and Denzel only attends occasionally because he didn't know about the rituals till after he won his Oscar. They tried to come for him, and he became a full-on devout religious man preaching the gospel. Do y'all remember that Will Smith Oscar slap drama? Well, get this. That night, Denzel gave Will a warning saying, "At your highest moment, be careful. That's when the devil comes for you." Sounds pretty scary to me. And look what happened to Will Smith's life after that night. And then, of course, it is kind of weird when you think how Michael B. Jordan got his Oscar just a few weeks after he was humiliated in front of the whole world with the N-word. Now, the reason people are even talking about this right now is that the just-ended Oscars had so many symbols that it became impossible to look away. And get this. That little gold statue every A-lister is desperate to get their hands on has also been exposed to resemble the symbol of an ancient Egyptian demon. And the man who designed it back in 1928, Cedric Gibbons, allegedly admitted to being a devoted Satanist. It is allegedly modeled directly after the ancient Egyptian deity Ptah, god of arts and crafts, then fused with Osiris and Sokar, representing death, resurrection, and rebirth for the chosen few. This means winning an Oscar doesn't just make you famous, it initiates you into the hierarchy as one of their own.
Told me. He said, "Man, have you seen the image of Ptah? The image of Ptah is exactly the same as the image of the Oscar. The Oscar is the highest award that is given by the National Academy of Artists and Craftsmen. Ptah was the patron god of Menepra, the city of Memphis. He was the patron god of artists and crafts."
Now, the man behind all of this was Cedric Gibbons, a powerful MGM executive who designed the trophy back in 1928. Everyone assumed it was simply a golden knight on a film reel, you know, harmless, symbolic, and clean. But allegedly, Gibbons pulled the entire design directly from Ptah, deliberately burying a demon inside the trophy. This was an intentional initiation ritual disguised as a trophy, and it doesn't stop there. At last year's Oscars, the stage itself was reportedly constructed using unmistakable symbols, and that is when people really began to notice what was going on. And baby, from that point, it was up. Yes, the Oscars were filled with pyramids and the Babylonian mystery religion symbolism. You can see the Freemason symbol right in the center. This is just one more Hollywood Oscars occult ritual after many before it. People still won't believe it. It's really sad. Now that the veil has dropped, everything is being exposed. It's crazy that people believe everything is a coincidence when it's not. These cults thought the truth would never come out. Welp, God said we will see about that. Anyway, all this got a lot of people looking more into this whole Hollywood demonic stuff, and they found receipts of Mel Gibson actually exposing all of it, all the way back in 1998, when he exposed the industry for having secret after-parties after major award shows like the Oscars, and even using other people as entertainment.
Points of interest about women, you know.
There's a producer I know, successful producer, I will not mention names, but his whole opinion about women on film from beginning to end is very brief. He says, women on film, either naked or dead. Both is better.
Now, even though Mel didn't name drop the exact producer who said this, a lot of people believe to this day that he was 100% talking about Harvey Weinstein. You see, just a year after Mel said this, Weinstein came out with the film Frida, which starred Salma Hayek, and she accused him of quite literally forcing her to go full frontal with another woman. Mind you, this was after she expressed that she didn't want to do it. In fact, in the past 37 years, only 2 women who have won Best Actress at the Oscars didn't have to go frontal for their roles. If that doesn't tell you something is going on, then I don't know what will.
You know,
Right.
it used to be, you get naked, you get nominated.
Mel also revealed in that 1998 interview that when he initially moved from Australia to Hollywood, he thought it was only going to be about film, but he quickly realized that it was way deeper than that. Yes, films were being made, but there were also a lot of questionable things happening that he didn't feel comfortable with. And when he asked his colleagues, they all seemed to be in on it. He even exposed Christopher Walken for apparently being anti-Christ and having supernatural abilities. A few months ago, nobody would have taken this seriously and probably even questioned his sanity. But after the recent Epstein files and everything we know about Diddy's parties, this doesn't sound so crazy anymore.
Over here, I had a whole bunch of weird paranoid suspicions about what the hell was going on because there was a lot of stuff I couldn't understand and nobody was really bothering to explain it to me. And I formed a bunch of opinions about the town and about the people in it that were like, surely that couldn't be, because a whole place can't be like, Weird Town, where the stranger wanders in and all the people are in the bar and they all shut up when he looks at them and they tell you don't go into the house on the hill. And it's like that. And then you go away and you think, no, I was wrong. I mean, that's insane thinking. I'm paranoid. I imagined that stuff. That couldn't be the reason for why so-and-so was acting like, could it? And then you find out later on the track that you were exactly on track. That some of your worst nightmares were me on a rooftop in New York. I said, hey, can I talk to you? And he said, sure. And he floated in, sideways, through a crowd of people. He was wearing black. And it was like one of those old vampire movies where they don't walk, but they glide. And he was a dancer, so he has he's very, graceful.
Yeah.
And he moved sideways and he just sat down in a chair next to me. And it kind of frightened me. And he's a very smart guy. And we started talking and I didn't, say much of anything about reading the script, nothing. I just started talking about the Middle Ages and he began to talk to us, and we swapped because I'd read this book on torture. And I tried to recall some of the most heinous things I'd ever read in this book, and he was like, oh, and he'd try and top it, and my assistant was there, and he left because he couldn't stand it anymore.
Yeah.
The air had turned cold, and then he left, and I wanted to leave because I knew that I didn't want to work with him, and he was getting scary. And then I turned around and it was on top of the Peninsula Hotel. I turned around to avoid his steady gaze at one point, and I was looking at a building with the top of the sixes on it. So there was a huge illuminated 666 in red. And I went from that to that to that, and he started smiling. And I thought, oh no, Chris Walken is the Antichrist.
And it was actually right after this that the industry started to silence him. But Mel didn't let up. In fact, he said the reason Hollywood was so against his movie The Passion of Christ is because he refused to abandon his faith and join their occult.
Resistance to that movie.
Oh, yeah. No, there was...
Which I thought was very strange. There was like Hollywood resistance to that movie. Like people didn't like that you were making it, it seemed like.
Yeah, there was a lot of opposition to it. And I don't know. I think if you ever hit on that subject matter, you're going to get people going. Because,
of course,
it's big subject matter.
Distance, first of all, from secular Hollywood, where for whatever reason, Christianity is the one religion that you're allowed to disparage.
And then he attempted to blow the whistle on these CT operations when he made his film Sound of Freedom, a project he ultimately had to bankroll on his own once more, since mysteriously, no major studio was willing to touch it. The film exposed CT networks operating across the industry. Naturally, these powerful elites weren't having it, since Mel was drawing public attention to the exact criminal activities they'd been participating in for decades.
One of the most disturbing problems in our world today is human trafficking, and particularly Now, the first step in eradicating this crime is awareness. Go see Sound of Freedom.
Now, when it comes to Denzel, he hasn't been as outspoken as Mel. But as I said earlier, people believe this has a lot to do with the fact that he found out about the demonic mess going on at the Oscars after he won. And remember what I said earlier about him and his wife Pauletta running out of Diddy's 2003 Oscar after-party? Well, word on the street is that the details of the party go way beyond what the media said. The source who spilled the tea about this said, and I quote, Denzel screamed, "You don't respect anyone." Denzel and his wife Pauletta had been partying until dawn with Diddy, and they had seen something and stormed out. Now, even though they didn't actually reveal what Denzel saw, people have their speculations. A lot of people have come out to expose this already, including the now missing model, Gabriella Rico. A video from 2009 recently resurfaced of her after allegedly escaping an Oscar after-party.
¡Comieron humanos! ¡Asquerosidad! ¡Comieron humanos! ¡Yo no estaba enterada de nada!
There was also this clip of author Barbara Marx having a slip of the tongue and admitting to the practice herself while delivering a talk about human evolution. This woman literally acknowledged participating in it directly in front of a whole audience, and not a single person in that room dared to challenge her on it. You seriously can't make this stuff up.
By everything that we do, the babies we eat, the food we eat, the wars we fight, the babies we eat.
Additionally, folks also resurfaced this clip of actress Roseanne Barr exposing everything about the consumption happening in the industry. Now, just like everybody else who spoke up, she got labeled as unstable. She referred to these powerful figures as vampires and mentioned she'd been in a psychiatric facility alongside some of the survivors at one point, and they were in terrible shape.
No, they eat babies. That is not bull. They're full-on vampires. And everybody still thinks I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. They're full-on vampires. They love the taste of human flesh and they drink human blood. They do it. They say you can't wake people up that are pretending to be asleep, but I pray to God, please wake up even those who are pretending to be asleep with the irrefutable truth.
And then there's the longtime conspiracy theory that Hollywood has been extracting adrenochrome to maintain their youth, except that at this point, it's not really speculation anymore, because multiple emails discovered in the Epstein documents confirmed that this was genuinely taking place.
For years, there has been a long-standing conspiracy theory that Hollywood and the elites harvest the blood of young people and transfuse it in order to reverse age. And now the Epstein files might have revealed that that is in fact true. In this email to Jeffrey Epstein, it says, all you need is a blood transfusion from the pack and you reverse aging. This is where adrenochrome comes into play. It is a real chemical compound found in the when the body is in a fight or flight situation. And we know that the kids that were involved in Jeffrey Epstein's network were definitely put into fight or flight. And of course, we've seen Hollywood elites like Chrissy Teigen tweet about how they're going to a party where they're serving up 4-year-old cheese pizza with adrenochrome and, of course, the eye emoji. And according to the FBI code words, cheese stands for little girl and pizza stands for girl. Now back to the email. The subject is Dr. Agus, a professor of medicine and biomedical engineering at USC, pretty local to Hollywood. He is also the founding director and CEO of the Ellison Medical Institute. You know, the medical institute funded by Larry Ellison, the new owner of TikTok. And he's also hosted a Paramount show with big celebs like Ashton Kutcher and Oprah Winfrey. If you know, you know.
Now, all of this is alleged information. But if what Mel, Denzel, and literally everyone else is saying is true, then the Oscars need to be brought under serious investigation before it's too late. As usual, people had their thoughts, like this person who said, Mel Gibson has been trying to warn the world for decades. People called him crazy. He was kicked out of Hollywood. The media hated him. Another person said, "These people are sick and weird. The Oscars are nothing short of demonic." But now I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about the Oscars being exposed for being demonic? And do you think this is what Mel and Denzel were trying to warn us about all this time? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And don't forget to click here to watch this other messy video.